The Ark of the Covenant has always been shrouded in mystery and power. Built under God's command to house the tablets of the Ten Commandments, this sacred artifact has traversed centuries, carrying deep secrets and a legendary history. But one question still echoes in everyone's mind. Where is the Ark of the Covenant now? This relic, which once led armies to victory and brought the divine presence to Solomon's temple, disappeared without a trace, fueling theories, relentless searches, and the fascination of those who believe in its unparalleled power. Some say it is in Ethiopia, while others believe it has been lost forever. But what if it's still hidden, waiting for the right moment to reappear? By understanding its history and exploring the mysteries surrounding it, we may come closer to an answer. Could the Ark, the greatest biblical relic, still have a role to play today? Let's find out. If you're curious to learn more about the mysteries of the Ark of the Covenant and other sacred relics, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. That way, you won't miss any of the upcoming discoveries. The search for religious artifacts. The search for religious artifacts has always fascinated humanity, crossing cultures and eras. From Buddha's sacred tooth to the Holy Grail, these objects represent much more than historical relics. They are symbols of spiritual power and mysteries that transcend time. Among the most enigmatic is the Ark of the Covenant, a sacred relic mentioned in the Old Testament, whose location remains shrouded in legend and secrets. The search for these artifacts is more than just archaeological curiosity. It is an effort to connect the present with biblical mysteries, especially when it comes to the Golden Ark. The mystery of the Ark of the Covenant stands out in this context, not only for its spiritual value, but also for its relevance in biblical history. The sacred relic is mentioned as a direct instrument of divine presence and a symbol of the covenant between God and the people of Israel. The question, where is the Ark of the Covenant, continues to inspire relentless searches by archaeologists and adventurers. With each new discovery, hope is renewed that the lost Ark may one day be found, which would bring to light ancient secrets that could rewrite the history of biblical relics. In recent times, biblical archaeology has been dedicated to locating not only the Ark of the Covenant, but also other lost religious artifacts. Theories suggesting that Moses' Ark is hidden in Ethiopia or even buried in Solomon's temple feed the popular imagination. Yet the Ark's power remains shrouded in mystery, and many believe that its rediscovery would have profound consequences, not only spiritually, but also politically and culturally. The search for the location of the Ark is, therefore, a search for greater answers about the past and the future of humanity. Biblical significance. The Ark of the Covenant holds deep significance within Christian and Jewish traditions, being much more than just a sacred relic. It was built under God's direct order, as recorded in the Old Testament, to house the tablets of the Ten Commandments. This act symbolized the covenant between God and His people, making the Golden Ark an object of reverence and awe. The power of the Ark was immense, as it was believed that wherever it was, the divine presence manifested in a visible and tangible way, bringing blessings or curses depending on the obedience of those who carried it. Historically, the Ark played a fundamental role in decisive moments for the people of Israel. It was carried ahead of troops in battles, symbolizing divine leadership in wars fought in God's name. On several occasions, such as during the conquest of Jericho, the mere presence of the Ark was seen as the determining factor for victory. This reinforces the idea that the ark was not just an artifact, but an instrument of communication between heaven and earth, carrying the weight of the sacred covenant and the promise of divine protection. In addition to its use in battles, the Ark of the Covenant served as the spiritual center of the nation of Israel. The presence of the Ark in Solomon's temple was a sign of God's dwelling among his people. However, after its mysterious disappearance, the fate of the Ark became one of the greatest biblical mysteries. Its absence raises theological questions about what happened to this symbol of divine presence, opening the door to countless theories and prophecies about its rediscovery. The search for the lost Ark continues to this day, carrying with it the hope of reconnecting with a glorious past. Biblical references. The construction of the Ark of the Covenant is described in detail in the Bible, especially in Exodus 25:10 through 22. God instructs Moses to build the ark from acacia wood, overlaid with pure gold inside and out, with rings and poles for carrying it. Its dimensions are also precise: 2.5 cubits long, 1.5 cubits wide, and 1.5 cubits high. On top of the ark, 2 golden cherubim faced each other with their wings touching, representing divine glory. This detailed description reinforces the importance of this sacred object as the physical dwelling place of God among his people. In addition to housing the tablets of the Ten Commandments, the Ark of the Covenant contained other sacred items, such as the jar of manna and Aaron's rod that budded, as mentioned in Hebrews 9:4. Each of these elements carried deep spiritual meaning, representing miracles and promises made by God during the journey of the people of Israel through the desert. The ark itself, adorned with gold and guarded by cherubim, was considered the place where God would meet with Moses, as stated in Exodus 25:22, "There I will meet with you and speak with you." This made the ark not just a symbol of the covenant, but of direct communication between man and the Creator. These biblical references are fundamental for understanding the power and sanctity of Moses' ark. The Bible makes it clear that the ark was more than a mere container. It was the mobile throne of God on earth. Through these passages, we can understand why the search for the lost ark has persisted for centuries. Finding it would be like recovering a direct connection with the divine, as well as revealing more about the secrets of the Ark of the Covenant. These descriptions fuel the imagination and the desire to unravel the biblical mysteries surrounding this sacred artifact. Legendary battles. The Ark of the Covenant was present during some of the most remarkable moments in Scripture, being seen as a symbol of divine power in battles. One of the most legendary stories involving the Ark is the conquest of Jericho, as told in Joshua 6. The people of Israel, under Joshua's leadership, circled the city for 7 days while carrying the Ark of the Covenant. On the 7th day, at the sound of trumpets, the walls of Jericho collapsed, allowing the Israelites to take the city. This event was attributed directly to the presence of the Ark, demonstrating its extraordinary power when used in God's name. Another miraculous event involving the Ark occurred during the crossing of the Jordan River. As described in Joshua 3:15-17, as soon as the priests carrying the Ark touched the edge of the river, its waters stopped flowing, allowing the entire people to cross on dry ground. Once again, we see the ark being used as a means through which God manifests his power, guiding the people safely. These events emphasize that the golden ark was not just an object, but a point of contact between God and his people, capable of performing great and miraculous deeds. However, the ark also had its moments of defeat, such as when the Philistines captured it, as described in 1 Samuel 4. Instead of bringing victory, the ark was taken by the enemy as a trophy. Yet even the Philistines realized that the ark carried a power beyond their understanding, as plagues began to afflict their cities. These stories reinforce the mystery and reverence surrounding the ark, demonstrating that its power was not at the mercy of men, but only of God. The battles fought around the ark remain examples of how it shaped the fate of entire nations. Where is the ark? The location of the Ark of the Covenant is one of the greatest biblical mysteries, inspiring countless theories over the centuries. Some believe that the ark was hidden in a secure location before the destruction of Solomon's temple, and remains hidden to this day. One of the most popular theories suggests that the ark is kept in Ethiopia, specifically in the Church of Saint Mary of Zion in Axum. According to this legend, the ark was taken there by the son of King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba. However, the sacred relic has never been shown to the public, which keeps the mystery alive. Other theories point to Jerusalem, speculating that the ark is buried beneath the Temple Mount. This is based on the belief that King Solomon may have built secret passageways to protect the temple's treasures, including the ark itself. This idea has gained traction with archaeological excavations conducted over the years, but so far, no conclusive evidence has been found. Biblical archaeology continues to search for clues that might reveal the whereabouts of this sacred relic. But the mystery of the Ark of the Covenant persists. There are also those who believe that the ark was taken by the Babylonians during the invasion of Jerusalem and either destroyed or lost forever. This theory, though tragic, would explain the biblical silence regarding the ark's whereabouts after the destruction of the first temple. However, the fact that its location has never been confirmed keeps hope alive that the lost ark may one day be found, revealing the secrets of the Ark of the Covenant that have fascinated scholars and believers for so long. The search for the Ark of the Covenant continues, and with it, questions about its power and final destiny. Biblical examples. The Bible is filled with examples that demonstrate the power and significance of the Ark of the Covenant in the history of the people of Israel. One of the most notable episodes is the crossing of the Jordan River, where the ark led the way, allowing the people to pass on dry ground, as described in Joshua 3:14-17. This event was not only a miracle, but also a confirmation of Joshua's leadership and of God's covenant with his people. The Golden Ark represented the active presence of God, and this episode reinforces the importance of trusting in divine power in moments of great challenge. Another important example is the capture of the ark by the Philistines in 1 Samuel 4. After a catastrophic defeat, the Israelites lost the ark, which was taken as a trophy by their enemies. However, the Philistines soon realized that the sacred relic carried a power beyond their control. As plagues began to afflict their cities, this narrative shows that the power of the ark did not depend on who physically possessed it, but on God's will. Even when it was in enemy hands, the ark continued to manifest divine authority, revealing its most feared secrets. Finally, the return of the ark to Israel is a moment of great joy, symbolizing the restoration of the covenant between God and his people. In 2 Samuel 6, King David, after recovering the ark, danced before it with all his might. in an act of humility and worship. The presence of the ark in the temple was a constant reminder of God's holiness and his commitment to Israel. These biblical examples not only reinforce the power of the ark, but also the spiritual and emotional impact it had on all who surrounded it, being central to the spiritual practices of the Old Testament. Theological interpretation. Theologically, the Ark of the Covenant is one of the deepest symbols of God's presence among his people. For biblical scholars, the Ark represents divine holiness and justice, reflecting how God reveals himself and relates to humanity. The fact that the Ark contained the tablets of the Ten Commandments emphasizes the importance of God's law as the foundation for spiritual and moral life. It was not merely a physical symbol, but a constant reminder of the covenant established between God and Israel and of the people's commitment to obey his commands. Some theologians also view the ark as a precursor to what Christ would represent. Just as the ark was the point of contact between the divine and the human in the Old Testament, Jesus in the New Testament takes on the role of mediator, reconnecting humanity with God. In this sense, the mystery of the Ark of the Covenant foreshadows the redemptive work of Christ. For many, the Ark is a symbol of power and reconciliation, reflecting the divine desire to dwell among his people. This theological parallel between the Ark and Christ opens new layers of interpretation about the Ark's importance in Christian traditions. Additionally, some prophecies about the Ark of the Covenant suggest that it may still have a role to play in the future. In some eschatological interpretations, it is believed that the rediscovery of the Ark could be a sign of the end times, where it will once again play a central role in faith and human history. This theological interpretation not only fuels spiritual interest, but also the intense archaeological search for this sacred relic. Therefore, the Ark is not just a figure of the past, but also carries a promise for the future, tied to the hope of a reunion with the sacred. Symbolism is profound. For many, the Ark represents the importance of maintaining an intimate relationship with God, based on obedience and reverence. Just as the Ark held the tablets of the Ten Commandments, those who seek to live according to biblical principles see it as a reminder that a true connection with the divine depends on honoring God's will. Applying the teachings of the Ark in daily life means prioritizing faith, morality, and spiritual values above worldly distractions. Additionally, the story of the Ark teaches us about the power of faith in moments of adversity. In the episodes where the Ark was at the forefront of the people of Israel, they overcame seemingly impossible challenges, such as the collapse of the walls of Jericho. Similarly, those who face personal battles can find inspiration in these events, trusting that with God leading the way, obstacles that seem insurmountable can be overcome. The key is placing faith at the center of life, just as the Ark occupied the center of spirituality and worship in the Old Testament. Finally, the search for the Ark of the Covenant reflects a deep desire to find answers to the mysteries of life. Many believe that the discovery of the Ark would not only be a historical milestone, but also a source of spiritual renewal. This longing to find the sacred relic can be seen as a reflection of each person's desire to discover divine truth and the purpose of their existence. The Ark, as a symbol of God's power and presence, challenges everyone to seek in their own lives a deeper connection with the divine and with biblical mysteries. Spiritual practices. The Ark of the Covenant, with all its mystery and significance, inspires various spiritual practices, especially in the realm of prayer and meditation, for those seeking a deeper connection with God. The story of the Ark is an invitation to reflect on the power of divine presence in their lives. In prayer, we can ask God for His presence to be as real and powerful in our lives as it was in the days when the Ark was in Solomon's temple. Meditating on biblical events involving the Ark, such as its journey through the desert or the collapse of the walls of Jericho, can strengthen faith and bring forth the mystery of divine intervention. Meditating on the symbolism of the Ark of the Covenant also leads us to consider the value of obedience and reverence to God's holiness. Just as the Israelites revered the Ark, carrying it carefully and following precise instructions, those who seek a deep spiritual life are called to cultivate a heart of reverence. Prayer can become a practice of aligning with God's will, asking for direction and wisdom to live according to the principles that the Ark represents, such as justice, mercy, and faithfulness to the divine covenant. Additionally, meditating on God's Word, like the commandments contained within the Ark, helps us internalize the values that guided the people of Israel. A practical exercise would be to set aside moments during the day to reflect on biblical passages related to the Ark and the commandments, seeking to understand how these principles can be applied to modern life. Through these practices, the presence of God can be experienced in a tangible and continuous way, strengthening spiritual life and providing a deeper understanding of the biblical mysteries surrounding the Ark of the Covenant. Common challenges and doubts. The challenges and doubts surrounding the Ark of the Covenant are many, not only from a historical standpoint, but also from a spiritual one. One of the most common questions is, why did God allow the Ark to be lost? For many, the Ark symbolized the physical presence of God, and its disappearance raises questions about what this represents in terms of faith and obedience. Some believe that the Ark was removed from the scene as a way to teach that true devotion does not depend on an object, but on a heart turned toward God. This can generate doubts, especially for those who wonder if the Ark still holds relevance today. Another common challenge lies in understanding the biblical mysteries surrounding the Ark, its specific functions, its power, and even its consequences, like the death of Uzzah in 2 Samuel 6:7, when he touched the Ark improperly, raise questions about how literally we should interpret these events. Some see these stories as symbols of respect and obedience to God's holiness, while others question whether the Ark still possesses the same power today. Understanding how these events apply to modern faith can be a challenge for those seeking a clearer interpretation. Additionally, there is the question of the real importance of the Ark for Christians today. While for the people of Israel the Ark was the center of worship and the covenant with God, many wonder what impact its rediscovery would have in contemporary times. Would the Ark still be capable of performing biblical miracles? This question divides theologians and scholars, but it also provokes deeper spiritual reflection on what it truly means to live in covenant with God in modern times. After all, the lost Ark may be a symbol of something greater, the constant search for a living faith and a genuine connection with the divine. Community action. The Ark of the Covenant, beyond its spiritual significance, can inspire community action among believers. Just as the Ark represented the unity of the people of Israel under God's leadership, today it can symbolize the call for faith, communities to unite around a greater purpose. Helping the needy, promoting justice, and defending biblical values are some of the ways Christians can reflect the impact of the Ark in their lives. Just as the Ark was at the center of Israel's community life, the pursuit of a life of service to others should be at the center of Christian action. A practical example of community action, inspired by the principles of the Ark of the Covenant, would be organizing efforts to help underprivileged communities, offering not only material support, but also spiritual guidance. Just as the Ark carried the tablets of the law, which were a guide for the people, today, biblical teachings can serve as a guide to help others live better lives. Evangelism programs, community Bible studies, and social outreach can be tangible ways to bring the secrets of the Ark of the Covenant into everyday reality, making the community live out the principles of faith in action. Additionally, the Ark in the temple was a symbol of God's presence among the people, and this can inspire believers to see their churches and communities as places where God dwells. Community actions such as creating shelters for the homeless, distributing food and clothing, or even providing psychological and emotional support to those in need, are ways of bringing God's presence into the modern world. These types of actions strengthen community bonds and reflect the power of the Ark of the Covenant to transform lives through the practice of love for one's neighbor. Prayer and meditation. Prayer and meditation are essential practices for those seeking a deeper connection with the divine. And the Ark of the Covenant offers a rich source of inspiration for these practices. In the Old Testament, the Ark represented the physical presence of God among the people of Israel. And this invites us to reflect on the importance of seeking that presence in our lives. In prayer, we can ask God for His presence to be as real and powerful in our lives as it was when the Ark was in Solomon's temple. Meditating on the biblical stories of the Ark, such as its journey through the desert or the collapse of the walls of Jericho, can strengthen faith and bring forth the mystery of divine intervention. Meditating on the symbolism of the Ark of the Covenant also leads us to consider the value of obedience and reverence to God's holiness. Just as the Israelites revered the Ark, carrying it carefully and following precise instructions, those who seek a deep spiritual life are called to cultivate a heart of reverence. Prayer can become a practice of aligning with God's will, asking for direction and wisdom to live according to the principles that the Ark represents, such as justice, mercy, and faithfulness to the divine covenant. Additionally, meditating on God's Word, like the commandments contained within the Ark, helps us internalize the values that guided the people of Israel. A practical exercise would be to set aside moments during the day to reflect on biblical passages related to the Ark and the commandments, seeking to understand how these principles can be applied in modern life. Through these practices, the presence of God can be experienced in a tangible and continuous way, strengthening spiritual life and providing a deeper understanding of the biblical mysteries surrounding the Ark of the Covenant, future and hope. The Ark of the Covenant, despite being lost for centuries, still carries a strong symbol of future and hope for many people. The mystery surrounding its location and its role in the last days fuels the expectation that its rediscovery would bring new understanding about God's promises. Some prophecies and theological interpretations suggest that the Ark could reappear at a crucial moment in history, symbolizing the renewal of the covenant between God and humanity. This hope fuels the faith of those who believe that the Ark, like the divine covenant, still has a role to play in the spiritual future of the world. For many, the Ark of the Covenant symbolizes the certainty that God never abandons his people. Even though its location remains a mystery, the promise that God walks with his people is still alive. The hope of rediscovering the Ark reflects the longing for a reunion with the divine and for a complete restoration of communion with God. In times of uncertainty, this expectation offers a sense of purpose and encouragement. Just as the people of Israel walked through the desert, trusting in the presence of God, represented by the Ark, today people are called to walk in faith, trusting that God is present even when we do not see all the answers. Additionally, the future of the Ark is tied to eschatological hope. For some scholars, the Ark may re-emerge in the context of the end times as a sign of the fulfillment of ancient prophecies. Although we cannot know for sure what the future holds, the search for the Ark continues to represent the desire to find answers to biblical mysteries and to the meaning of life. Whatever the final destiny of the Ark of the Covenant may be, it remains a powerful symbol of hope that God's purpose will be fulfilled and that his covenant with humanity will be eternally renewed. Conclusion: the Ark of the Covenant remains one of the greatest mysteries of the Bible. Its historical, theological, and spiritual significance continues to captivate believers and scholars alike. Whether it is hidden somewhere in Ethiopia, buried beneath the Temple Mount, or lost forever, the Ark's legacy endures. It symbolizes not only the covenant between God and his people, but also the ongoing search for divine truth and connection. The Ark reminds us that even when mysteries remain unsolved, faith provides a path forward. For those who are intrigued by the search for the Ark and other biblical mysteries, the journey is not just about uncovering lost relics, but about deepening one's relationship with the divine. The search for the Ark is a metaphor for the spiritual journey, an ongoing quest to understand God's will, to live according to his commands, and to seek his presence in our lives. Whether or not the Ark is ever found, its significance will continue to inspire hope, faith, and a longing for a deeper connection with God. As you continue your own spiritual journey, take the lessons of the Ark with you. Trust in God's timing, honor his covenant, and always seek his presence in your life.